And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get set for the qualifying heats for Team NNSCRA for the NR2003 Big One of 2020. We're going to be determining 4 of the 5 drivers that will represent Team NNSCRA here today, as we're going to be getting set for one qualifying heat with 8 drivers, top 2 advance, then another qualifying heat with 7 drivers, top 2 will advance there as well. The remaining 11 drivers will be in an LCQ taking place later on in the week. On the pole for this one is going to be Levi McIntyre in the 155, alongside of him the 124 of Alex Tanker. The other drivers that are in this group include Carson Gum, Matt Haas, Logan Williams, Samet Ozkan, Cody Lamas, and Johnny Gardner. 15 laps of racing here in this heat from Pensacola Super Speedway. Let's not waste any time. Let's go down trackside, get the most famous words in motorsports, get these drivers rolling.
Drivers, start your engines!
15 laps of racing, caution flags are on. I don't necessarily think with an 8-car field that we're going to have a caution, but it is a super speedway. And we are here for these heat races at the Orlando Super Speedway, which you will notice does not have these drivers going off to the left side of the screen and turning left in the corners. Orlando is a very unique super speedway where it is completely backwards. These drivers will be making right-hand turns all the way around, and I'll tell you, I've been at Orlando before, and it does throw you off as a driver because you're so used to making moves while turning to the left when you're at Daytona, Talladega, or any other super speedway on the circuit. This one throws you off your game, and so these drivers are going to have a bit of a challenge here this evening to try and make sure that they keep their noses clean to keep themselves in the conversation to possibly get a top 2 position. See, that's a packed house here at Orlando International Speedway. These fans getting ready for what should be 2 very exciting heat races here this evening. A 15-lap dash, if you can call it a dash. I mean, this is a very long super speedway, but it's not going to take them very long to get around the racetrack. It averages about 50 to 55 seconds to make a circuit here at speed. So it will not take long for these drivers to get around here, and so this heat may fly by quicker than you would expect, especially with the fact we've only got 4 cars in the field, and the likelihood we'll run all 15 laps under green flag conditions. Pretty good. So, of course, we'll give drivers an idea of what to expect in the main event as well. Main event is going to be taking place here at Orlando. The entirety of the festivities taking place here at the Orlando Super Speedway, as the pace car finally makes the left-hand turn to pit road. 8 drivers, 2 spots up for grabs as Levi McIntyre and Alex Tanker lead us down, and the first heat of Team NNSCRA's qualifiers for the big one is green. Let's roll! McIntyre with a push from Johnny Gardner, and now Johnny Gardner's going to look to the inside, 3 wide for the top position. Logan Williams in the 127 thought about making it 4 wide for a brief moment there. They are 4 wide further back. That's Matt Haas down the inside line, putting Cody Lamas in the middle. Samet Ozkan, that purple and yellow machine stuck on the top sides. Now they remain 3 wide. That's for second. Logan Williams, the driver on the bottom that's making those moves. I'm sorry, actually that's Matt Haas rather. No, that is Williams. Williams and Haas, actually, so I was right on both counts. The 127 and the 123 on the inside line, as Johnny Gardner, for the moment, edges ahead. But here comes Williams with a full head of steam and a rear deck lid full of Matt Haas. They're making some good ground on that inside line. Look at how the cars bounce. You see the rear end of the car jumping up and down. The rear shock's getting a workout here, and we're only 1 lap in, now on to the 2nd lap of this race. 3 wide, 4 wide, almost 5 wide back there. That's for 4th place, as Williams will emerge with the top position. Alex Tanker, who started outside of the front row, now puts Matt Haas in the middle. Cody Lamas in the 148 up on the outside line, and just like that, in the span of 1.5 laps, Levi McIntyre, who led us to the green, is now at the very back of the field. Matt Haas now will look to the inside of Logan Williams. Right now, I think what these drivers are doing is they're doing some sizing up. They're sizing up what their race car is capable of doing in the draft. They're also sizing up their competition, seeing, if I can make this move here on lap 2, would I be able to make this move again on the last lap of this race, potentially to move my way into the main event. There's now Carson Gum up to the second position. He's getting help there from Levi McIntyre in the middle line. Whoa, close call back there between Smet Ozkan and Alex Tanker, as Ozkan was trying to look to the inside and almost got into the left rear quarter panel of the 124 as Carson Gum now emerges out in front. There are no bonus points for leading a lap. There are no bonus points for leading the most laps. It's all down to who finishes first and second. That's it. Doesn't matter how flashy, how dominant you've been for the first 14 laps. If you are not in positions first or second when you cross the start-finish line, you're going to have to rely on the LCQ race. And in that LCQ race is going to be the 6 drivers that do not transfer in from this heat, as well as the 5 drivers who do not transfer in from the upcoming second heat. So once this race is over, don't go anywhere. We're going to have a second race here for you, with 7 more drivers trying to transfer into 2 spots into the NR2003 Big One main event here for the 2020 year. As Alex Tanker finally clears for second, moves up to the middle groove to try to get some help from Johnny Gardner, rather than staying down there on the bottom with Smet Ozkan. Now it's going to be Tanker dropping to the inside to pick up the 144. Nothing Carson Gum could do to block a move like that. Cody Lamas trying to help the 144, and now he's going to peak a little bit lower, puts Smet Ozkan in the middle, 3 wide. One thing we've seen here so far in these first 3.5, now make it 4 laps, nobody's really been able to hang on to the race lead. They've had it for a while. Some drivers have been able to stay out in front for about nearly an entire lap, but nobody's really able to hold on to it for longer than that, as we're 4 wide, 5 wide as Carson Gum went up to the wall. And now it settles to 3 wide with Ozkan on the top, Lamas in the middle, Matt Haas on the bottom. And Lamas might be clear on the 123. He is. He thought about moving down low, but instead he'll stay in the middle with Logan Williams. And Williams looks like he may push Cody Lamas to the lead, and he will. And now Logan Williams says, all right, I've done my duty. I've pushed you to the front. Now I want the race lead. It's on the bottom with really no drafting help. It's about a car length and a half back to Matt Haas. They're lined up on the top side, and as soon as I say that, Levi McIntyre is going to fan out 3 wide and 4 wide. They'll now go 3 wide back there for the third position. We're going to be 3 wide, 2 rows deep. As soon as I say that, Smet Ozkan backing out of it as he went way up there in the corner, and here comes Matt Haas with a big run on the inside line. Just like that, he's going to pass about 4 cars in the matter of a couple corners. And Carson Gum sees that momentum. He's going to jump down there as well, offer some drafting help. We've got Chevys, we've got Pontiacs, we've got Fords in the field. Don't think we have a Dodge in this heat. I can't remember if we have a Dodge in the second heat or not. Actually, that 148 might be a Dodge. Yes, he is. Okay, so we do have all 4 manufacturers up here in this heat. Nice to see Pontiac back, as they've got 3 entries, I think, in this heat with Matt Haas, Carson Gum, and Alex Tanker. As 2 of them out in front right now, the 123 and the 119, as Carson Gum now crosses down to the inside, looking for the race lead. We are now nearing halfway through this race. These drivers have definitely been mixing it up. Nobody's really been just kind of riding, but at the same time, they've been giving each other an awful lot of room. So this is looking good that all these drivers will more than likely be able to at least finish the race with their cars in one piece. Question is, though, which cars are moving on to the main event, not even having to worry about the LCQ later this week, and which drivers are going to have to take part in that LCQ race. Johnny Gardner is going to lead this lap. And they're almost 4 wide behind him for second place. Carson Gum did have Matt Haas to his outside for a brief moment, but now it's Ozcon to the inside and Logan Williams even further down. Help on the bottom from Alex Tanker. 3 wide, 2 rows deep. Right now, Matt Haas and Levi McIntyre are kind of the deciding factors back there as to which line is going to move as Gardner, Tanker, make that Ozcon, Gardner, and Williams all dead even here down the back straightaway. Now the inside line will certainly prevail through this corner. It's the shortest way around the racetrack, and we could see that with Logan Williams edging ahead. And now clear. Whoa! Closest we've gotten to a wreck here today as Cody Lamas into the back of Smed Ozcon nearly turned him down into that inside line. That was a close call. We nearly had ourselves a caution here on lap 9. Great save by both drivers. As if that 144 had come down, I think it was the 124 of Tanker underneath him. If they had come down and made contact, that would have shot probably both of them back up into the outside wall and could have taken out quite a number of the drivers here in this heat race. Logan Williams now out in front. They're side by side for second, so now we'll see if Logan Williams can maybe control the draft. Give a little bit of draft to the inside line, pull them along, and then jump up to the top side and pull them along. Keep second place battle even. Nope, that's not going to be the case. Levi McIntyre, for the first time since leading us to green, is finally going to get that number 155 back out in front. Well, as soon as I say that, the outside line got a huge run there on the front straightaway. And we may be 4 wide for the lead. That's Gardner and McIntyre in the middle. Ozcon on the bottom. And for a brief moment, you had Logan Williams up on the top side. It now settles out to double wide at the front. 3 wide for second. Or make that 3 wide for third, rather. And then 3 wide for sixth. That settles out to double wide. Smed Ozcon drops all the way to the back. And Carson Gum, who got pushed to the lead earlier on, was just moments ago pushing Levi McIntyre to the front. Now those two will go side by side for the race lead. Lap 11 on the board. 5 laps to go here at Pensacola. Nope, sorry, Orlando. They've got similar logos, Pensacola and Orlando do. Both made by Action Pack Tracks. That's Cody Lamas now to the inside of Carson Gum. Now, this is going to be interesting, too, because, we're seeing a lot of swapping for the race lead, but it's the top 2 that transfer into the main event. So, will we see more of a battle for the race lead or for second place when we get to the white flag? Right there is a battle for the transfer spot between Tanker and Gum. Tanker now in control of it as he almost got into that left rear quarter panel of Cody Lamas. Not quite nearly as close a moment as we had between Lamas and Ozcon, but very nearly close. 4 wide, that's for third. As we're side by side for the lead with Tanker on the bottom, Lamas on the outside. Levi McIntyre there behind the 148 trying to get that outside line going. Further back, Johnny Gardner and Logan Williams have hooked up into a bit of a 2-car tandem. We'll see what momentum they can make down the front straightaway. And look at Smed Ozcon. Crosses from high to low, trying to make forward progress again. Still side by side there between Tanker and Lamas. I thought for certain that Tanker would have cleared Lamas by now, and now he will. Here comes Logan Williams now back to the bottom, and there's Johnny Gardner. Remember, we talked about those two. We're hooked up. And now they're going to take it 3 wide for the race lead, putting Tanker up on the top side. Williams will be put in the middle. Johnny Gardner down on the bottom as they hit the line. 3 laps to go here in our first heat race this evening at the Orlando Superspeedway. And again, I can't stress enough, these drivers, they're not battling for the win necessarily. They're battling for the top 2 spots. Top 2 will move on to the main event. Down the back straightaway, it's Gardner and Williams right now in those transfer spots. Look at Levi McIntyre with Matt Haas. Big run up the middle. I think Logan Williams saw it coming, moved down just a little bit to kind of block that run that the 155 is getting. And McIntyre's still coming. He's still getting pushed by Matt Haas. Right up the middle lane. Oh, and as soon as they got up there to the left rear quarter pedal of the 127, Matt Haas switches to the inside line, is 4 wide, almost 5 wide looking here. Going into the corner. We are now 4 wide for second place. Logan Williams up there on the top side trying to help Alex Tanker. He's got Levi McIntyre, Johnny Gardner, and Matt Haas all down underneath him. It's hard to tell if we're 4 wide for the lead or 4 wide for 4th. As Matt Haas's car kind of started fading back, and now he's going to have to back out of this as he had no drafting help. And the white flag's going to be displayed this time as we are 3 wide, 2 rows deep. With the 2 cars that basically started the battle for the race lead at the beginning of this race. Johnny Gardner and Levi McIntyre out in front. Smed Ozcon now looks to the inside line. He's got Carson Gum helping him. And the flagman with the white flag in hand. 1 more lap to go here at Orlando. Who's going to be the top 2 crossing the line when we get back around here in about 55 seconds? It's Smed Ozcon looking to the bottom on Johnny Gardner. And just by a nose, it is Ozcon leading the way. Oh no! They wreck on the final lap! Ozcon hard into the wall. Carson Gum saved it. Everyone else got through. And Smed Ozcon up into the fence from the lead. It's not going to transfer in. They waited till the last lap to wreck. Matt Haas now out in front by a commanding lead. That might not be such a good thing. Cody Lamas now kind of crowded Johnny Gardner up for second. And they're reeling the 123 in. They're 4 wide for 3rd place. As coming to the stripe, an unbelievable last lap, Matt Haas is going to win the first heat race. Cody Lamas will cross in second. They transfer into the main event. And this race just went from maybe 0 to 100 in the matter of 4 corners. It was looking like everybody was going to make it back to the start-finish line. And it was all going to come down to position as to who was going to win this race. Who would have thought it was going to come down to wreck avoidance with the race leader getting turned on the final lap. But Matt Haas is going to transfer to the main event. Cody Lamas is going to transfer to the main event. They're going to represent Team NNSCRA in the NR2003 Big One for 2020. So 2 of the 5 entries have been determined for the NNSCRA team so far. And the standings are official as they came back to take both the checkered and the caution flag. Matt Haas and Cody Lamas with finishing 1st and 2nd. They are going to be transferred into the main event. Tanker, Williams, Gum, McIntyre, Gardner, and Ozcon, they're going to have to rely on the LCQ later on this week. And that's a tough break there for Smed Ozcon that really was looking like he might have this thing in the bag. We're actually going to go back and take a look at a replay real quickly. Let's see what happened to him, because that took me by surprise, to be honest. And of course, with everybody else being able to get through, and it being the final lap, there was just no way that Smed Ozcon was going to be able to get back into the running to try and challenge for this win. And we'll see if we can figure out where the contact actually started. As we look at the replay, watch up on the outside line. Cody might have gotten into Gardner. Right there, yep. Turned Gardner down to the right rear quarter panel of Smed Ozcon. Carson Gum got hit in the passenger side door, but he was able to keep his momentum and keep it straight. And that is what happened to Smed Ozcon, who, as we saw at the time, was the race leader when that contact was made. So, we know 2 drivers that are going to be in the main event, Matt Haas and Cody Lamas, but there's still 2 more spots up for grabs here tonight, as we're going to be getting these drivers ready for the second heat race of the night. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back after a brief intermission, and then we'll be back here for 15 more laps of racing to set the final 2 drivers this evening that will be in Team NNSCRA. We'll be right back here in just a moment from Orlando. Welcome back here to our second heat race of the evening from Orlando Superspeedway. That's going to be Matthew Rodriguez and Daniel Bouchard leading us down to the green flag for this one. And you've got Nathan Ormond, William Brock, as well as Jordan Lopez, Jessica Shelton, and Matt McIntyre in this field as the green flag is out. 15 laps of racing here in this heat race. One less car than what we had in the first heat race. We'll see if these drivers can keep it clean for 15 laps. They almost did in the first heat race, outside of that wreck on the final lap. Inside line moving. That's Jessica Shelton and Matt McIntyre. Looking to make it 3 wide, 2 rows deep. Putting Nathan Ormond in the middle, Matthew Rodriguez way up on the top side, and Shelton's going to edge ahead with the race lead. Now we saw in the first heat race, which we're going to probably be adhering to quite a bit here in this second heat race, since it gives a little bit of a template of what to expect. We saw drivers not really being able to hold on to the race lead. But that was back when you were able to really have tandems of 4. Now you've only got tandems of 3, and then one driver that gets to kind of decide which lane's going to move. Not a heck of a lot of daylight right there between the front of William Brock's car and the rear of Matt McIntyre's machine. I thought we almost might have an early caution here in the second lap of this heat race. As now Matt McIntyre drives it down to the bottom. Jordan Lopez going to follow him. They're going to leave Jessica Shelton out to dry. So move McIntyre to the front, who started this race from 7th. That would be last in the field, and it's only taken him about 3 laps to work his way up to the front. Will he lead this lap is the question. Yes, I think he did. Barely over Jordan Lopez. We already know Matt Haas and Cody Lamas have locked themselves into the field for the main event, representing Team NNSCRA. 2 more drivers going to transfer from this heat, and then, of course, as mentioned, the 6 drivers that didn't transfer from the first heat. The 5 drivers that will not be transferring here from the second heat, they'll be in an LCQ later on this week. Jordan Lopez did not want to leave Matt McIntyre out to dry. He moved up to the outside line to help him. That's going to cost him, though, as now William Brock in the middle with Matthew Rodriguez. And look at this. Daniel Bouchard going to go 4 wide as he was working with Nathan Ormond. Now he's going to try and see if he can get to the inside there. Couldn't quite get the run down the front straightaway. No draft to be able to tow him and nobody to help push him. There's almost contact there between William Brock and Jordan Lopez going into the corner. And Brock, for the moment, is going to clear for the top position, leaving them side by side, double wide for second, Ormond and Rodriguez. Then it's Shelton, Lopez, and Bouchard, 3 wide for the 4th position, with Matt McIntyre bringing up the rear. Now Brock clear for the lead. Rodriguez clear for second. Ormond's going to move to 3rd. They're going to be 3 wide for 4th. Shelton in the middle line might have the advantage here, being able to get the draft off the 188. She's cleared Bouchard. Now it looks like she may have cleared Lopez as well. She'll now drop down to the bottom, try and draft up to the bumper of Matthew Rodriguez, who is going to go for the race lead on William Brock. Just watching to see in terms of, this is nighttime conditions. Sometimes between races we end up seeing where the track temperature will change. I'm looking to see if there is a difference in the speeds that these drivers in the second heat are laying down as opposed to the first heat. They look somewhat similar, maybe a tick faster. I think the fastest lap we saw laid down in the first heat was a 56.5, and Matthew Rodriguez, who we're looking at right now, just ran his fastest lap of the race with a 56.447. So I think as the nighttime continues to wane on, the track continues to get cooler, and we're starting to see the speeds just a little bit faster. As now Jessica Shelton takes a look to the inside of Matthew Rodriguez for the race lead. Daniel Bouchard looking 3 wide, and he will stick it down there. So Bouchard, Shelton, Rodriguez 3 wide for the lead. They're 3 wide behind him again. That's Brock, Lopez, and McIntyre. And the tail on this kite right now is Nathan Ormond in the 188. We'll see where he's going to run, as he'll run the middle line. So let's see if Shelton and Lopez can make something happen here on the straightaway, since they have a 3rd car in their draft. I think that's why Daniel Bouchard was not able to clear Shelton going into this corner, because Shelton had that help there on the straightaway to stay even. But now as Nathan Ormond switches to the bottom, looks like that inside line is going to be the one that moves. And you see right there the 193 of Brock stepping out of line. Now you're probably wondering, why is he doing that? He's not going to be able to make that move work. Well, I think what's happening right there, with the nighttime conditions, the speeds kick up. These drivers will probably be using a little bit more grill tape, with the fact that it's only 15 laps, but at the same time, they're running the risk that the car is going to overheat. I think with William Brock being the guy that was at the very tail end of this group, he's the one that's running the risk of having that draft, having his engine overheat. He's probably jumping up there, trying to get some cool air to the nose, cool that engine down. That's why you want to be out in front. If you're out in front, you get all the clean air you want. If you're in somebody's draft here, like we're seeing Jordan Lopez right up on the back bumper of Matt McIntyre, you're keeping an eye on that water gauge, making sure it doesn't rise. Normally at a super speedway, you want it to be somewhere around 210, 215. 200 is the peak that you want, but if it starts reaching 220 or further than that, you got to start thinking about stepping out of line and cooling that engine down. Matt McIntyre trying to go from back to front. Started this race in a row all by himself, back in row 4. Jordan Lopez right there side by side. We saw these two work together earlier. Now we're seeing them work against each other for the race lead. past the halfway point of this race. Let's not forget that we ended up finishing the last heat race under caution. The yellow flag came out for an incident over in turn number 2 on the final lap. And they raced back to the white flag and the yellow flag the checkered flag and the yellow flag at the same time. Will we see something like that here, or will these drivers get aggressive a little bit earlier? Yeah, I think there's got to be some kind of an advantage as well for these drivers that are taking part in the second heat. You know, I mentioned the fact that as a broadcaster up here, able to kind of get an idea of what to expect just based off of what happened in the first heat race. Well, these drivers as well are able to get an idea of what's going to happen. I'm sure that all of them were down there watching the 15 circuits in the first heat race, taking notes, talking with their crew chiefs. And now going out there and applying what it is that they were able to figure out based off of the first heat races. Nathan Ormond with a turn out in front. Now Jessica Shelton, a big run there through 3 and 4. She's going to go back to the front. Matthew Rodriguez trying to go coast to coast. Started on the pole, trying to win this thing. And again, just have to continue to stress, this is not the battle for the win. This is the battle for the top 2 spots that will move on to the main event. Cody Lamas finished, 2-3 car lengths behind Matt Haas at the start-finish line. But because he finished second, he's going to be moving on to the main event race. It's interesting, too, that we've had a Pontiac and a Dodge move on to the main event. We do have Fords and we do have Chevys. In this heat race, will we see a Ford or a Chevrolet go into the main event from this one? Matthew Rodriguez, Daniel Bouchard. They are Chevys, as is Nathan Ormond. Matt McIntyre is a Ford. Shelton is also a Chevrolet. Or no, I'm sorry, Matthew Rodriguez is a Ford. So the Chevys are Shelton, Ormond, and Bouchard. The Fords are Rodriguez and McIntyre. There we go, I got it right this time. Don't have a Dodge here in this heat race. Cody Lamas was the only Dodge for Team NNSCRA, and he made it into the main event. We do have 2 Pontiacs in this heat, however, with Jordan Lopez and William Brock. Matthew Rodriguez pushed out in front for the time being, courtesy of that Papyrus Racing Pontiac Grand Prix. Look at that outside line and middle line. We're able to get a nice run there through the straightaway. Tried to draw even with Matthew Rodriguez, but now with Nathan Ormond moving to the inside line, that inside line prevails. Rodriguez going to move up off the bottom. That opens the door for William Brock to take a peek. And for the first time since we took the green, we were actually lined up 2 wide all the way back through the field. As soon as I say that, though, we fan back out 3 wide. We saw in the first heat race, it's really all about positioning. And in that heat race, it was about positioning yourself to get through the last lap wreck. Don't know if that's going to be the case here in this heat race, or if it's going to come down to just being right place, right time to be able to make the move for either the win or for second place. And you don't want to make it too soon. Because if you make it too soon and nobody goes with you, you're going to find yourself, instead of battling for the lead, falling all the way back to the rear of the field. As Matt McIntyre is going to go to the front. Nathan Ormond looking a little antsy back there as he looked low on Brock, then looked high. Not able to get alongside the 193. At the line, it will be the Ford Taurus of Matt McIntyre leading that lap over William Brock. And we've got 3 laps to go here at Orlando for this second heat race. You already know Matt Haas and Cody Lamas will be representing Team NNSCRA. 4 wide for the lead here with Bouchard, Shelton, McIntyre, and Brock. Brock's going to back out of this one. McIntyre jumps up to the high side. And now we'll go 3 wide for the lead with McIntyre, Shelton, and Bouchard. Which line's going to move, though? That outside line's got 3 drivers lined up. Oh, we're going 4 wide again. Jordan Lopez peeking low on Bouchard. Looks like that could be 4 wide for second. Shelton might be able to get enough of a push down the front straightaway to clear the 190. Nope, not going to be able to do it. Nathan Ormond's to her inside. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead with Bouchard, Ormond, and Shelton. We're 3 wide behind them for fourth. Almost 4 wide as Jordan Lopez looked to get to the inside of Matthew Rodriguez, but didn't have the run. Oh, gracious. We almost had a wreck right there. William Brock was up into the left rear quarter panel of Nathan Ormond. And if a wreck had taken place, this race would have ended under caution. The next flag ends this race, whether it be the caution flag or the white flag. Now we're starting to see, just like we did in the first heat race, as the laps tick away, the aggressiveness kicks up, and the room is very minute. Matthew Rodriguez, though, taking a look to the inside as they will see the white flag. This time by, we had a wreck on the final lap of the first heat. Will we see one on the final lap of the second heat? As Matthew Rodriguez started on the pole, trying to go coast to coast, pole to win. He leaves the door open down low there for Jordan Lopez as 4 drivers lined up on that outside line. Daniel Bouchard right now with the edge, with the advantage. Now Shelton switches down to the middle line. That's going to help Matthew Rodriguez and Matt McIntyre. Jordan Lopez, a lonely man down on the bottom. Nobody helping him. The 170 going to the back. As it's Bouchard and Rodriguez. They're going to be side by side going into the final few corners. Remember, if they stay side by side, they're transferring in first and second. Look at Shelton. She's going to go to the inside, 3 wide with Matt McIntyre and William Brock. Can she make a last-ditch effort? She's now going to go 3 wide for second place with Bouchard and McIntyre. Rodriguez is clear for the lead, potentially the win. It's going to be the battle for second. Shelton, Bouchard, McIntyre, Ormond. They crossed the line. Who got it? Who got second? They're saying it was Matt McIntyre. They were 4 wide for second place for the final transfer spot here in this heat. And Matt McIntyre is barely going to edge them. We're going to have to go back, take a look at another camera angle, because that camera angle coming to us made it a little bit difficult to see just how close that was. But that was 4 wide coming to the line for the final transfer spot. McIntyre gets it, and Matthew Rodriguez, the Matthews, pick up the transfer spots here in the second heat as Rodriguez started this race from the pole and was able to position himself to cross the line first to transfer his way into the main event. Let's go back and take a look here at the replay coming to that start-finish line from a different camera angle and just see how close it really was for that final transfer position here in the second heat. I mean, it looked close from my angle. That doesn't necessarily mean it really was that close from another angle. Here it is. And you can see they are 4 wide. They're actually almost 5 wide with William Brock trying to put himself into that conversation as well. And as they head to the start-finish line, well, it looked closer than it was. But McIntyre had Bouchard by about a wheel. And he had Shelton by nearly a car length. And if we look here, let's try and see if we can see from the spectator cam. Yeah, there's a good angle. There's a good shot. You can see really the battle for second place was between McIntyre and Bouchard, and McIntyre was edging ahead little by little there on the straightaway. Shelton at least got to his right rear quarter panel. And then Nathan Ormond was alongside of her. William Brock wasn't quite alongside Matt McIntyre, but he was alongside of Daniel Bouchard. But that was the battle to the line there. No contest for Matthew Rodriguez, but about 5 drivers in the conversation there for that second and final transfer finishing position, as the standings are official, and looks like everybody was actually able to make it back to the start-finish line for this one, as all 7 drivers finished within 0.4 of a second of each other. Jordan Lopez, you can see, finished way back there, as opposed to everybody else who was in close proximity, just based on the fact that he lost a lot of momentum with no drafting help there on the final lap. But Matthew Rodriguez and Matt McIntyre will be transferring into the main event. Daniel Bouchard, Jessica Shelton, William Brock, Nathan Ormond, and Jordan Lopez will join the 6 drivers that didn't transfer from the first heat race in the LCQ, where only 1 driver will be moving on to the main event in that one. So 4 of the 5 entries for Team NNSCRA have been decided. Matt Haas and Cody Lamas in Heat 1, Matthew Rodriguez and Matt McIntyre here in Heat 2. Kind of ironic, 75% of those drivers, first name of either Matt or Matthew. Conspiracy? I think not. Anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in to tonight's event here from Orlando Super Speedway. Hope you guys enjoyed it, as we now have got 4 drivers qualified in for Team NNSCRA. As mentioned, the final one will be in the LCQ race. That will be taking place later on this week. And then, of course, be sure to tune in to the main event race. That's going to be taking place over on NIRA YouTube channel. We'll give you more information about that when we get to the LCQ event in a few days. But congratulations to the 4 drivers that have moved on for Team NNSCRA here for the 2020 NR2003 Big One. We'll see you guys later on for the LCQ race. Until then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast here on the NNSCRA Sports Channel, Offline Racing at its best.